I see a couple of questions. I'll answer them. And any questions, let's get into it as well. Okay. All right, team, welcome back. We are in our what session is it? This is JPACT orientation. Okay. Let me go to the drive again. Sorry, give me a second. That's 2020. We are in trainings. And this year, JPACT 12 and always. There we go. This is the document that I'll need to keep a track on where we are. Team, we had an orientation session, remember, and then day one, a little bit about history of software and so on. Pretty boring topic, but we're getting towards, covering some of the concepts. Day two was something again we were going through. What's from this? This is maybe a question. And simplifying things. And I believe we had 3 days in total, team. Was it? Or today is day 3? Can you all confirm? Is today day 3, JPACT? Day 4 today, right? So where's day 3? QA roles in 2020. Yes, that I'm talking about. Selenium test. There we go. See. All right, team. So a couple of questions came up on AnyAUT Excel. Now let me explain. Let's go back to the agenda and look at our flow again as to how we will go about. So in the orientation, we spoke about it. Yeah. So we're going to focus a few days on this AnyAUT certified tester team. It will include, actually it will be more than 5 to 6 days. I would say 7 to 8 days at least. Okay, a few more things that we need to do there. Then we will get into core Java, JUnit, Eclipse, JDK, and start working with Selenium WebDriver here. Okay, so actually we'll finish this as is independently, and then we'll get into Selenium WebDriver, CI/CD, GitHub, Jenkins, maybe TestNG also we can add the same, and so on. So it's a long way, team. We are about a 3 months program overall. So remember that. And we are in the first few sessions of it. All we're trying to do is get grip on some basic concepts. Now let me explain once again what AnyAUT is and what we're doing there and where we are currently. Okay, all of you, listening mode. And team, I also want to talk to you about a few things today. So let me make sure I don't miss to write down what all I want to talk. JPACT groups and next steps. I want to talk about that. So projects. I want to talk about QA roles in 2020 team, what we need to be doing. And what did I want to talk about right now? I lost my thought. Ting, 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 ting. Yeah, I think AnyAUT also. A little bit more explaining about what this does. Okay. So in AnyAUT is a software application, it's a web-based application which helps us to automate our web-based applications with ease. That's what it does. It's built on Selenium and Java, and we have constructed that using all the different types of frameworks into one common architecture. It's a pretty large tool, team, so it takes a little time to understand what it does. So as of now, there are only a couple of things that I mentioned. If you go back to the previous versions, is to go back to this link, and I'm going to copy and paste this again in the chat here, so you can have it, team. And if I can, I'll share it in an email to everyone. So it's a 500 MB file. Once you download it from my Google Drive, you would be able to see a folder, something like this. Let me show you. AnyAUT, yeah. So this is 1.02 runner. So you're basically gonna execute the jar file with a demo and just see how it's working, team. Now, how the source is written behind it, how we went about creating this entire thing, okay, is what you will be exposed to as part of the AnyAUT certified developer training. So when we get here, you will talk a lot about understanding how we build this. So assume something like you worked for something like HP behind the back, or maybe Micro Focus Now or Sauce Labs, and so on. So different testing organizations, product companies. That is what you'll get into. Okay. Now, I was talking about, okay, so I need to create a Skype group, everyone. So today is day 4. Where am I? I'm sorry, I'm changing a little bit here and there. So there are Skype groups, team. JPACT 12 members. Earlier JPACT members, active membership, of course, are welcome to repeat. So you could be a JPACT 9, 10, or 11 batch member, and let's say you have time, so come back and join this. I will share with confirmed members. So if you're not yet a member, please get there, and you can start using that for tech, admin support, and also project support. So whatever is happening around, we can use that group. And this is also for training. So training, technical, admin, and any projects we can do it in the Skype. So there's a lot that will happen, team. It will be a very, very busy community. This is my personal one, but primarily if you look at for SDET, there's a big group that's there with 38 participants. For JPACT 11, which was merging into 12, we have 40 participants. Maybe it is the same group that you all will join. So where we interact, any links that have to be shared and so on, we keep interacting on that. So these groups are pretty active, team, and I think it'll help us to start interacting with each other on it. Okay. All right, so what else? Projects, yes. So projects will come up as part of this. We are early stages. There will be assignments for all. Then there will be specific project work for JPACT members. There'll be at least one manual with maybe a little back-end testing and so on. This could be also related to ASCT. Definitely one with Selenium, Java, or Python frameworks. And if possible, something with SDET, CIC. Not possible, definitely. Here, Jenkins, Maven, GitHub, and so on. So this is what we will keep going through, team, as part of the projects as well. So projects are very critical for us and how we go about. Now, from a training perspective, team, just explaining it to you, so it's all easy. Most of the members, unless you're repeating, are beginners. So my flow is going to be slow. I will not increase the speed unnecessarily, but we will gradually. Where's my mouse? Increase the scope of what we learn, not the complexity and so on. So please feel a little bit more relaxed around these parameters. Now, what happens during live training? Sure, you can ask questions. But let me tell you one thing. First, take notes. Don't practice while the session is on. Just take notes, team. Come on. Practicing when you are practicing, come on, offline, use our Skype groups. And also every 2 to 3 days, we will have event. You can speak, share, collaborate, and so on. And then it's good to accumulate some thoughts, questions, and put forward. Okay? And that's the only thing, team. Only because it's not at all a problem, but always remember it takes 2 to 3 repeats for each concept along with hands-on practice before we can crack. Okay? So you're not in that stage where we are confidently able to say that, once I learned or saw something as a video or a live session, it's all set. No, it won't happen that way. The reason I'm having to say this is basically because I've got a few calls today from members saying because we missed yesterday's session, and it's all there in the GoToWebinar schedule, team, but for now, don't worry too much on that. So team, this documentation is there, and I think I'll also put it in YouTube wherever I can, so you can refer to this documents, team, especially for those videos. Once I get it after day 4 and so on into our website, then you can access it from there. Okay, so this is day 4 today, and we spoke speaking a little bit about all this. So I will also be sharing, not tomorrow, maybe day after, new GoToWebinar link. So we will discontinue this and start for members only. Now, team, before I go ahead with some more topics for the day, any questions that I can handle? Anyone has questions, you can raise your hand, please. Please feel free to interact. And just letting you know, we have not yet started into Selenium IDE and so on. What is Excel Runner used for? AnyAUT Excel Runner, it is used for running automation tests on web-based applications. It'll take us about a week to really get to know at length what it does. But basically, if you know how you can enter everything into this Excel sheet format in the right structure, your framework, which is built on Selenium and Java, which is all here, will start to identify and execute. So it has something similar that what we're building, like what is the application, modules in it, test cases in it, test steps for it, and a few more sheets to make things easy. And that helps us to execute. As we keep going through next few sessions and execute a few, we will understand. So here is a tool called AnyAUT that does it for us. And we are trying to go there using our baby steps. So we are saying, let us write our own tests. Let us use Selenium IDE and so on. And also go to the website and watch this demo team. There's a small demo here. Should tell you what AnyAUT is. Any other questions for now before I move forward? And your certification is part of it, team. So once you know Selenium, you know Java, you know automation frameworks, then I can tell you that maybe you know AnyAUT. Okay. If you don't know any of them, you will not know AnyAUT. That's what it is. I don't see any more questions. Okay, team. So let's continue then. What was there? So we'll come to this our document a little later. Team, I need to go ahead with Selenium ID. I'll do that maybe from tomorrow, but day 4 and so beginning still going very, very slow. QA roles in 2020 team, basically I'm talking about and how they evolved over, I think safely last 25 years, I can say. So team, let's keep making sure that this happens, okay? In the, if we're getting a chance, we're gonna start talking about user stories and test case art of writing test cases. This is one. And then we will be getting into Selenium IDE deep look and then element identification. I don't think all of this will be able to cover team, but we'll be going for some of these topics. Okay. Can I take AnyAUT questions after we've gone through some basic questions on it, Kiran? Because your question is an AnyAUT developer certification must for automation tester? See, again, let us not focus on what is AnyAUT and what it does. First, get the concepts for it. How do I explain team? I'm trying my level best to get you to understand that we are jumping the gun. You're in a hurry to understand something beyond. We still have to take a lot of baby steps, team. If you are an SDET, what is an SDET? Let's talk about all of this first. All right, team, let me relax, chill, and try and focus on this. I've been drawing so many diagrams to explain. Let's focus on what I'm explaining rather than what I've not yet explained. Is that fine, everyone? That will really help us. When I get to those topics, we can ask them. I should have not given that link actually for all of you yet. To just try and run is all I said. Just download, try and run. These are user stories basically. So I want to talk about, when I say QA roles in 2020, I want to talk about who a manual tester is. Who can be a QA engineer, which is similar with backend testing. And then we have the performance and any kind of a stress that is happening. That is one specific team. Then you have cross-device testing, as and when it is happening on multiple things. Different roles of testers teams that is coming across. Now, as it is shaping up, there are also QA automation engineers. Okay. Then we have someone called as automation architects. Then we have the SDET roles. Then we have DevOps, CI/CD, continuous testing, CI/CD. Now, these are the typical different types of roles that we have. And As you go across in your career, that is how and when you are able to make a transition from one to the other. The first few are pretty much simple things, not something that requires too much of us having spent on it. When it comes to things like manual testing and so on, something's wrong with this one. You need a lot of process. You need to know the different methodologies of how things work. You need to understand, when it's a process, of course, this SDLC process, what is it that is happening? You need to be part of a constant communication network, and you are a domain/functional expert. And you also may be owning release triggers. So, unless you give a go ahead, I don't think things will move forward. Now, the tools that are required for each level that you see will vary too. And you, if you're a beginner, you will notice that from here, the things like simple Excel or, things like Slack or Trello, Jira, Bugzilla, all these things. And even here, as it goes down, so on. So for each of them, what are we using? I'm using waterfall, cascade waterfall. What methodologies are we going through? Communication with all teams, dev team, BAs, end users. You're interacting with the UAT team, constantly interacting with the project managers, team leads, and the CI/CD DevOps team as well. So these are roles that you're playing, and you know the application and the test in and out, and hence you qualify to say how the app is, not how, if the app is ready to be released or shipped to a customer. That's how we're shipping our products and projects to be released to customer. And that's also the owning the triggers. So, and actually this is coming into the next slide. So to understand what we carry. Now in a pyramid, as a general theme, know this. If I take the entire scope as a pyramid, but I don't know what's ringing. Is my phone on? Sorry, team. If I can focus and say what are the QA activities, there is the DevOps team, okay, and there is the QA team, manual testing, and then there's the automation or SDETs who are working. Okay. Now look at the size of a team. As long as I'm correct with the way it is figuring it out. So this is an ideal way team. You have a small DevOps team to release, and you have an automation team which is set up nicely small, and you have a medium-sized manual testing team. It's called manual QA, because whatever is being prepared by the automation team is being used by the manual testing team. So all the tools and frameworks will be used here. And DevOps team is trying to put everything into a cycle for us. So what I'm trying to signify is there is never going to be an end to this field. We own the process. However, you need to adapt to few skills. Sorry. Here, I think we're more talking about how we do SQL programming and backend testing. I won't go too deep into this and so on. But as we come here, you will start seeing that your expectations are changing. Where you know a little bit of coding, you know how to maintain existing automation frameworks and be able to execute and get results. Now here you get an expert at design, build, and deployment of automation frameworks and the various ones. So it could be a SaaS-based application, SaaS or custom built. Example, using, let's say, Cell plus Java or TestNG, or robot frameworks. With Python, it could also be with totally with the UFT, Unified Functional Testing, Micro Focus, or Sauce Labs, like total SaaS product and so on. So maybe even Catalan, so many tools coming up, right? Or Cypress.io. So you're an expert at understanding how these tools works, or in fact even AnyAUT. Each one have their own frame as to what they do. An automation architect knows this very well. So see how it is increasing. So this is a team. Now, if I look at within the QA and automation SDETs here, see, that's your timeline team, as you don't need to draw another diagram. Now, SDET, what is an SDET team? And this is important for us to know where it comes from and how you can fit. You basically a software development engineer, but you're put into the testing team, right? So what does that mean? You have been working as a software engineer for a while, have learned certain depth of automation and is now working to build or to be an automation architect. Okay. Now look at this team. This person came from the QA background. This person came from the development. So if I go back to open, taking so long just to explain so many basic things, team. I'm so sorry. It's day 4. I know shorter sessions. I wished I could make more progress. I'm going very, very slow. And team, I just showed you what is Selenium IDE. Okay. So just wait for the sessions to start. I mean, to get going there. I want to make sure you're understanding everything. All right. Where did I want to go? I wanted to go to training. Which one? SDLC. So look at this SDLC that we drew. Remember the entire thing. So if I do something similar, and we're talking about different cycles, right? Requirement, requirement, then you have a design, you code it in, you test it, and you deploy or go live. So what are we saying? Testers are here. Slowly we did manual testing. Then we went into some amount of backend testing and web services, API performance, and then we're doing a lot of regression and automation testing. And then we became automation architects. All right, that's a tester. Now, someone in the development team has learned a little bit of testings here and there, and is coming in here as an SDET. Okay? So you are typically not an SDET unless you worked as a software developer earlier. However, if you qualify with everything like this, plus good amount of coding, you can go in as an SDET. Or you're looking at a manual tester, functional tester, automation tester, automation architect. Of course, there are leads and managers and everything. I'm not getting into those. Are you all with me, team? I want you to have a good clarity on what roles are there for us and how you will navigate through them. Do I have the audience with me or no? Yes, thank you, please. So now, what is DevOps, continuous testing, doing? So the idea is very simple, and continuous integration, continuous delivery. Is basically, it's a faster process. Come on, faster process, and it avoids any delays, possible delays, and knows that projects will keep coming. We will not keep anyone idle during this period. Automate and schedule, report as much as possible. And that's what basically is all that's going to CI/CD. So you can then become a DevOps, and DevOps is someone who's coming in here and say, you know what, take a different color. And this is where DevOps engineer is coming and saying, okay, developer good, tester good, requirements good, coding, of course, not developers, designs, of course. Coding is done, all is fine. Tester said yes, let's push it. When does my Jenkins task happen? So as soon as the developer pushes code into Jenkins, then I'll say, let's Jenkins trigger a test run, let it go to GitHub, let it connect to my remote repository. So multiple tasks that we can have it do. That whole cycle is managed using this specific DevOps team. So making sure that whatever is being pushed from development is going through to production in a quick manner. And that's going to be our multiple roles that we currently have. Of course, there are other things like cross-device testing is where I'm saying you have also this mainframe testing scheme still prevalent. And a lot of black box testing. You have mobile app testing also. And then you have system testing, integration testing, API testing is another big thing. What you'll start seeing are something called as microservices testing. Now we finished more of web services. Now we're saying micro and macro services. We'll talk about that as well. All right. So now for us to get there, our picture is very simple. This is what I will do, team. I will not get into anything technical today because I had a lot of questions on the calls as well. Just want to make sure you're on the same page. What did I want to do? So scope of what we're learning is very simple. In fact, see, I'll show you the AnyAUT diagram. It will help you to understand. If you go down into the architecture. So team, as part of our training, we will be going through a lot of concepts about the basics on HTML and CSS for how we identify elements team primarily. Web UI and all that as a general thing. But here we have to understand Java and how TestNG works. We need to understand all the Selenium WebDriver commands and how we build this code and architecture and how it works on different browsers and generates reports for us. So your skill will be developing in this fashion team slowly, one by one. So Selenium ID is the first thing that we will do. Couldn't do anything much today, but when I start tomorrow, we will write a few. Maybe if time permits, again, I'll take questions team. Let's do that for a few minutes, and tomorrow I will ignite with Selenium. ID will take us 1.5 days. Then we get into understanding how it works and trying AnyAUT as well. Team questions, feel free to raise your hand, please. I can unmute you. Or you can also put it in chat. Any questions about JPACT program? I don't see any questions, team, coming in. So I have a couple of them actually. One question. I can't understand the new GoToWebinar link will be shared with JPACT members. Yes, do general ITLN members able to join the Selenium part of this JPACT session? Absolutely, yes. So team, basically what is happening is like this. So there is this ITLearn training that's going on. Okay. And let us say part 1 out of this is IDE, Selenium IDE. We will do Java. Okay. Then we will do frameworks and so on. So all members, ITLearn and JPACT, you can all attend all of these. But here we will get into projects and certifications and mock interviews and preparations there. So that will be for JPACT. Correct? So a lot of this training schedule. JPACT teams maybe we'll also meet in the mornings. We map a separate schedule for JPACT only activities. And there's one more question I saw. Will you be sharing these docs that you're typing during the class? Yes, I will be sharing the docs that I'm typing. You want the Google links for all of this? Yes. What I will do, team, one Skype group, JPACT 12, and earlier two link to YouTube playlist for sessions so far. And team, in the profiling, I also wanted to talk about who you are. Okay, and there's so much that we need to talk. Technically subject, but little bit deviation also. See, so how it all depends on your background team. As of now, I'm assuming when we come back tomorrow, I will also talk about your current skill and plan to get the goal. So we'll talk about that. If you're a beginner, you have some coding knowledge, I have only few hours, or I'm fully free, I want to learn more and apply, or I'm urgently in need for a job. Those are the parameters for it. So where did I want to write? List. What was the other thing? Google Docs. Sure, the schedule is here, I think. It's a 3-month program. It'll take at least 2.5 months. And what we will do in terms of, I explained in the orientation also. So here it is. You can take a screenshot also if you want on the meeting. So we're going through this for 1 week, a little over 1 week, and then core Java for about a couple of weeks. Then Selenium WebDriver, automation frameworks, CI/CD, and so on. Postman. And this will be interesting. This is very important. This should be included as well. Okay. And for each of them team, I will be creating a different GoToWebinar and sharing. So that way, you know what sessions you're joining from now. So you'll all be part of JPACT 12, but for each one, we'll have it differently. So I'll have one for this, one for this, one for this, one after the other. All right, team, that's about it from my side. I'll see you again tomorrow. I think I'll need a little bit longer classes so we can make some progress. Let's see how it goes. Thank you so much. And Gulam, please, can you send us an email? That way we can respond back to you. Thanks, everyone. Bye for now. See you back tomorrow. Take care. Thanks.